Hello, YouTubers. Well, I had a rough week last week. I came home from the Ham Fest, and a couple of days later, my sinuses erupted, and I had a sinus infection. I haven't been that sick in a while. Coughing and wheezing all week. Still getting over it. And before you ask in the comments, I don't know if it was COVID. Never had a fever. Never had body aches or any of the other stuff. Just congestion, cough. Went through about 3 boxes of Kleenexes in 2 days. It was lousy. And then I had to move. I made my move to my quiet spot. I did some work last week on the current project, which is tweaking binaural back there. Yeah, she's got a name, binaural. My binaural microphone head. When I first built it and started recording with it, I noticed an accentuation to a certain frequency range. A higher frequency seemed brighter, it seemed stronger, and it was bugging me. And I thought perhaps those canals that I made, the ear canals that I made to mount the mics, they had about a centimeter or half an inch or so of depth to them. And those are basically tubes that are capped at one end, right? And a tube that's capped at one end has a resonance. You know, if you blow across it, you'll get a whistle out of it, right? Like blowing across a bottle. Or like a flute. You know, a flute's a long tube, and as you open up the keys, you're shortening the tube and the pitch goes up. So I figured perhaps there's a resonance to those tubes, and that is amplifying the sound around a certain frequency up high. And I couldn't tell exactly what frequency, somewhere between, I don't know, it's over 3K, maybe up around 5K, I wasn't sure. So I devised a method of finding out. Now, white noise is a noise source that contains all the frequencies. And it's used often in audio applications for things like tuning a room, setting up an EQ to flatten out the response of speakers in a room. You have a source that has all the frequencies, you feed it through something, you record that, and then you look at what you've recorded, and you can see what frequencies are stronger, what frequencies are weaker, and you can adjust for it, you know. And so I thought I'd use white noise to tune the head. Let's go to the computer and I'll talk about what I did. Okay, here we are in Audacity, and we need white noise. Well, if you look up here, we've got a generate menu. And if we go down here and select noise, type white, that's what we want, and I'll just hit OK. And Audacity creates for us white noise. Now this is what it sounds like. So this is our white noise. If we look at the spectrogram, you can see that it is just solid. There's no bands at any frequencies. There's no variation to it. If we look at the audio spectrum, plot spectrum under an Analyze menu, to select audio, of course. Select the whole thing. Analyze, plot spectrum. And I'm set up in a linear mode here, so we're looking from 0 all the way to 22 kilohertz. And as you can see, it is perfectly flat. We have all of the frequencies present. So what I'm going to do is play this into the best sound reproduction device I have, which are Sony MDR 7502 professional headphones. They're labeled professional. I don't know how professional they are. I'm no doubt they're not perfect. But Sony does say that they have a frequency response from 60 hertz to 18 kilohertz, I think, 16 kilohertz. It's up on the screen. You can see there. Good enough. So I put the headphones on the dummy head, and then I recorded the white noise. I played it back through the headphones and I recorded them on the head. And this is the resulting recording. Now if we take this and we plot the spectrum, oh, there it is. Right here. Right there. See this really sharp bump? Right around 4.2 kilohertz. That's got to be the resonance of the tube. See how sharp that rise and fall is? something is accenting or amplifying sound right at that level, and around 4K seems about right. That must be the resonance of the tubes. So what I did was I redesigned my microphone mounts. I went into Tinkercad and I took the old mount and recreated it, but made it shorter, only 1 millimeter taller than the microphone itself. And then I installed those in the head. Okay, here's the new ear canal. Only 1 millimeter deeper than the microphone, so this will bring the mic right up to the surface. Now I should have about 3 inches of wire, so I should be able to... Boy, that mount worked really well. Yeah, just enough wire. Oh, there we go. Okay. There, see the old one? There's a comparison side by side. Now, what I don't know is, I made these just a little bit bigger in diameter because the mic was too tight before, and I think it might be too loose this time. Or not. Let's see. Oh, that goes in there pretty good. Okay, that's what I wanted. Nice, healthy click into place. The mic is right at the surface. Now all I got to do is get this back in the hole successfully. And carefully. Not too far. Get it there. Keep that flange on the outside. Alright. I think that's good. And we did it again. I played the white noise into the headphones, recorded it on the dummy head with the new ear canals with the mics right at the surface, and this is the resulting recording. Let's plot the spectrum. Let's listen to it for a moment. Not a lot of bass, but I think that's because the headphones don't respond below 60 hertz. The mic's probably not that sensitive at the low end. That's okay. Let's plot the spectrum and see what we got. Hey, look at that. Our bump at 4 kilohertz, which was right about here, is gone. There's a bit of a response bump here from about 5 kilohertz to 9.6. That's not, it's obviously not a resonance because it's not a very shallow bump. This looks like a little bump here, but if we follow this across, we see that it's actually just a little dip there. This level here and that level is not that close, or is pretty close. So this is overall a little more flatter response. Let me stretch this out some more. There we go. So yeah, a little bit of a boost here. That could be the ears themselves, the cavity that's formed by the shape of the ear. That could be important to human hearing. And it could just be the response curve of the headphones or the response curve of the microphones. What's important is we're not seeing that really sharp bump. This is tiny. This doesn't really count. I mean, this is pretty much not much higher level than here. This is more of a dip right there. And this is from 57 to 52 dB, so just a little bit higher. Yeah, this is okay. It's not going to have that ringiness that I heard in the other recordings. So yeah, I'm happier with this. I did a test again with the dummy head. I set it up outside and did the thing I did before where I walked in front of it and walked behind it. Let's go listen to that. Standing 10 feet in front, center, walking around to the left. Going to walk past 10 feet or 5 feet in front. Standing around to the right, going to walk past 5 feet in back. standing directly in front. So now the frequency response of the head is a little bit better. It didn't look flat in the plots. I might have talked about that in those clips, but I can't remember. So I don't know if it's not flat, if it's because the microphone elements, their response curve is unknown. The Sony headphones, their response curve is unknown. But definitely without that resonance of those tubes, without that bump around 4 kilohertz, the recordings are better. And I think it's going to work out. The only thing I've lost is the ability to quickly stick windscreens in there. So I'm going to have to come up with something else for a windscreen. I'm trying to get her ready for a little bit later at this spot that I'm at. After most of the rest of the RVs leave, it gets really, really quiet here. And the evenings, being springtime at sunset, the insects are out. You'll hear a few crickets. And the coyote, once the RVs all start to leave, they come closer to the area and run through yipping and howling at night. I want to capture that. There's all kinds of ambient sounds that I hear here that I want to capture. And if I can find some firewood, I might just do an hour-long ambient video of a campfire in the desert crackling away. That might be an interesting little sonic experience to capture. So, yeah, I've got plans for her. I'm just trying to get her ready, especially for my trip across the country. That's where I really plan to put her to use, capturing dawn chorus of birds and other interesting things. So that's what I've been working on, and starting to feel better. And yeah, that's what's going on. The next video, I don't know. I might get the flea back out and do a little more work on that, or I might do something radio related. I'm going to get my antenna up in a couple of days, the big doublet, and I might do some comparisons with that. I've got some interesting observations on how a doublet is quieter than other wire antennas. I might do a comparison there. In fact, I think that's a good idea. Once I get my antenna up, I think I'll do a comparison. A resonant end-fed 40-meter wire versus a doublet on 40 meters, which is quieter, and how are the signals coming in comparing? That might be a good idea. Well, anyway, whatever the next video is, we'll see you there. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Also, if you're not already a subscriber, click to subscribe. Join us on the Facebook channel for discussion about the videos. And if you'd like to help support this channel, please click to support me on my Patreon page.